They told us that Britain had declared war on Germany.
I used to go home looking up to the sky and hoping I would see a dogfight.
It was like one big adventure.
Oh, that's lovely. How are you, all right?
Yeah. That's me, Tyler. I'm 9, and that's Sarah. She's a friend of my nana. I started rugby at school. We're always getting put on the floor.
Great.
Sarah is 83, but at the start of World War II, she was 11. During the war, Britain's cities were attacked by enemy airplanes. Bolton in northwest England, where Sarah lived, wasn't as badly bombed as other places. But the war had a big impact on Sarah and her family. She was in this church when she first heard that war had broken out.
Priests were serving Mass, and then they told us that Britain had declared war on Germany. I was very frightened, and I ran all the way home, thinking that on my way home there'd be Germans going around any corner at any minute. That would just be silly, wasn't it? But that's how I was.
Did you know anybody who was in the war?
So my father was in the war from the beginning. Well, my mother wasn't very pleased because he joined up.
In joining up, Sarah's dad had volunteered to be in the armed forces and fight for his country. As war went on, all fit young men had to join up. What did you feel like when your dad went to war?
There were things, you know, you used to be a bit frightened of, that you always relied on your father, and it made it worse because they couldn't write to you. Just now and again you get a little card, and it had been censored with the officers. They couldn't tell you much, you know.
Censored meant the soldiers' letters would be checked to make sure they didn't give away any secrets. Sarah's dad was away for long periods, but was given permission to visit her in hospital when she became sick with diphtheria, a very infectious illness. Sarah was kept away from all visitors for 6 weeks.
If your mum came to see you, they had to look through a window outside at you. They couldn't come in. And in my case, they got my father home on leave. He was stationed in England at the time, but he could only speak to me through the window, which upset me a great lot.
Who looked after you when your dad went to war?
Well, my mother had to work. I was the one that did a lot of things. They had a little sister to look after. She was 7 years younger than me.
During the 1930s, most women stayed at home to look after their families. But during the war, women did traditional male jobs whilst the men were away fighting. If I had to look after my sister, it would be happy because I'd be with her. But sad because my mum will be at the mill and my dad will be at war.
I used to cook a meal for when my mother came over from the mill. I was only 12. You know what I used to make?
What?
Corned beef hash, because it was easy.
During the war, there was far less food to go around. Rationing was brought in all over the country to ensure that everyone got an equal share and had enough to eat. What did you eat during the war?
Oh, well, would you like to see?
Yes, please.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. That's quite a lot.
Per person.
Oh. That's
For a week. For a week.
Oh. The sorts of food that were rationed were jam, sugar, butter, cheese, meat, eggs, and even sweets. If that had to last me 1 week, I'd never feel full. And it'd be hard. Did you, when you were little, sometimes go sneak into the kitchen and take some?
Oh, yeah. You couldn't get tin fruit at all. But now and again, you'd get word there was some somewhere. My mother, she got this tin anyway, pineapple chunks and put it away for a special occasion. And I just don't know what come over me, but I just got it down this right off top shelf. And I made a little hole in the top, poured all the juice out. I drank the juice, oh, it was good. I haven't had any for a long time. When my mum come to use it, quite a long time after, it was all furred up inside. Gone bad.
Where did you get your bread from?
They used to deliver that by horse and cart. And my mother used to say, before she went to work, now, we only need a loaf today. But sometimes I was a bit naughty. And it was too much for me, and I'd get a donut. And when my mother came to pay the bill on a Friday, she wasn't pleased with me at all, because I'd had a few extra things. But when I used to see them on the tray, I couldn't resist it.
There were no supermarkets then, so Sarah's mum had to visit different shops to buy her meat, cheese and vegetables.
The shops, there weren't a long way in between. You'd get them on every corner.
I'd feel exhausted if I was going to every shop and then coming back with everything ready, and then maybe have to go again. Many people added to their food rations by growing their own fruit and vegetables in gardens and on any spare land. The government started the Women's Land Army to increase the amount of food grown in Britain. Over 80,000 women worked on local farms, and Sarah wanted to be one of them.
I wanted to join the Land Army, but I was only 14. I was going to be naughty, because I was a big girl and say I was older than I was, just to join the Land Army. But the sister at our school, I was ready for leaving school then, she said, well, if you're that keen, she said, you know you can't go in the Land Army because of your age, but I can find you a job to help a farmer, which she did.
Sarah spent hours and hours weeding fields like this one by hand to help grow food for the people of Bolton. Did you take any of your own food home?
She used to give me cabbages and potatoes and flowers from my mother. And of course my mother liked that, you know. And I could drink as much milk as I wanted during the day when I used to get warm. So, you know, it was pretty hard work really, but you had this sense that you were helping, and that's what it was all about. This is where I used to live here.
Has it changed much?
One day, my mother was taking me to a shop, and in the distance I saw this soldier walking up our road, and, you know, I said, that's my father. So my mother said, it's not your father, he's in France.
But Sarah was right. It was her dad.
He had a beard, which he didn't have before. And he was just unkempt, not tidy at all, you know, which is understandable. Anyway, we got him home, and when he'd had a wash and a shave, a nice hot cup of tea, he came around a little bit, but when he did go to bed, I think he slept for 3 days.
Sarah's dad had been fighting in France in May 1940, when the German army pushed the British forces into a small area of the French coast. Over the next 9 days, he was one of 340,000 men brought back to Britain as part of the evacuation of Dunkirk. To welcome Sarah's dad back home, they had a street party. But it was not until the end of the war in 1945 that the whole country could celebrate.
See all the happy faces there, everybody's smiling. The party went on all night and all day, next day.